The Premier League is in full festive fixture swing, and the games are coming in fast and furious. So instead of reviewing the games, we answer some of the bigger picture questions about title contenders, best players in the league so far, and Chelsea and Tottenham's ongoing issues to realize their full potential. We down here in the Rat Tail Bunker and Barbershop Studio for the final time in 2020, and this is the Boys and Bolos podcast. Welcome back to the Boys and Bolos podcast. Jarrett, once again, we're down here in the Rat Tail Bunker in Barbershop Studio. The Barbershop Studio is looking fresh. Hey, somebody loves me. Oh, just so fresh. So fresh and so clean. But it's clean, but it's also nicely decorated.
It's like a new haircut. It's kept.
I have a sultry picture of Lionel Messi always looking at me.
We have new posters with Lionel Messi, Podolski, Fred, and Iron Robin with hair. So that was a long time ago, my people.
Yep. Also a picture of MLS Strike Force with Brian McBride on the front.
Circa 2001.
But Jarrett, we're down here. We're approaching week 17. It was a wild Boxing Day. Maybe not wild, but there was some games on Boxing Day. Then
That's
there
an
was
accurate
some games after Boxing Day. And then there were some more games following Boxing Day.
I'm
right on the money on that one.
When you tell the truth, you tell the truth.
There was like 18, 20 games played in the last 5, 6 days.
I think it was like 17 because I think 3 games were canceled.
Oh, yeah, 3 games are postponed. Not canceled.
Whatever. They weren't played, and it's ridiculous.
Everton City wasn't played?
Everton City wasn't played today. Your Tottenham game didn't happen.
What other game? What was the third game?
I feel like there was another game last week. No, maybe that's just it. So, yeah, there were
18
over between weeks 50 and 16. There were 18 games. And now here we are.
A
lot of drop points.
A lot of drop points. A lot of draws. I felt like the games in the midweek games, it was just the teams just trying not to lose any places in the table. Although Arsenal did capitalize on a couple of games. They won against Chelsea, and then they won again. I don't know who they played, but they won again. Chelsea won 2 games. They got 6 points back. 6 points.
Arsenal won 2
Oh,
games.
my God. I'm saying Chelsea.
Oh, when you're thinking about Chelsea, you're thinking about Chelsea.
I'm thinking about Chelsea. Arsenal played and actually made up some ground on the table. They went from 15th to 13th, maybe? 20. They're on 20 points. I mean,
They're on 13th.
Yeah, so Arteta's, I don't know what he's doing, but they still didn't look great. I mean, Lacazette came in as a sub and scored a goal, and they beat Chelsea. So
They beat Chelsea in match day, in week 15. There's so many games, and we're not going to go through all 18 games. We're just going to...
You don't want to go through
No, I really don't.
all 18 games?
No.
Just break down each one?
We can talk about the Chelsea game because everyone texted me after and was like, remove yourself from the cliff.
Yeah, are you okay?
Step back from the bridge.
You watched that game over my house, and I started doing other things because I couldn't watch it. It was too much for me.
When Jorginho stepped up and missed the penalty, take a spoon and spoon out one of my eyes.
I just don't understand Jorginho. I don't understand it. We've had this conversation
How is he not
times,
in Italy playing for an Italian team?
How is he the one that gets to take penalties?
I would rather have Kepa take a penalty. That's a statement.
I would rather have Mendy's Shaq feet take a penalty.
Mendy. Oh, Mendy.
He made one mistake.
Mendy.
Made one mistake.
He's still, honestly, I think one of our best players.
I mean, he makes that defense considerably better.
Considerably. Wise choice of words, young Jeffrey. Yeah, I mean, look, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on some of the bigger questions. And one of the questions I have for you...
Is it Chelsea related?
It's not Chelsea related.
Oh, it's Tottenham related?
It's not Tottenham related.
Oh, all right. Well, what is it?
Or do you not want to hear it now?
I might not have as good of an insight on it. I don't know. Go ahead. Ask me.
You're not in the WhatsApp groups of all the other teams.
I'm not in the Discord community on the other.
Oh my God. No, my question is: are Chelsea and Spurs? It's actually about Chelsea and Spurs.
Damn
I just wanted to see.
Are
Chelsea and Spurs? Are they not in the title race?
They're not in the title race. 100% not in the title race.
Because I'm in the Chelsea group, and a guy made a good point. He's like, "Hey, the title race is still wide open." Because as we know, I think the Premier League is bipolar. For example, Arsenal win 2 weeks in a row. It was like literally a couple days in a row. And now there's no problems at Arsenal. The fans are like, oh, see, this is what we had. And Arteta's looking at his analytics. They're like, you had 84% chance of beating Brighton. And he's got some robots in the back room. But the Premier League is super bipolar. And so as a Chelsea fan, these last 2 weeks, it was painful because we lost to Arsenal and then we tied. So we get 5 out of 6 points dropped. Are Spurs and Chelsea out of the title race? I think one of them is still in the title race. just because of the math. I think if you win a couple games, if Chelsea or Spurs go on a 4-game winning streak with all of these ties, all of a sudden I think they're back in it. But then the other part of me is like, Spurs are just parking the bus. And like, go look at the Instagram. Everyone's like, yo, Spurs aren't made to park the bus. They have so much attacking. And Jose's like, slash the tires.
Yeah. You have to hand it to Jose. He's made a really mediocre defense into a not mediocre. I wouldn't say they're good, but they're much, much, much improved.
They're difficult to score on, which is something you would not say 16 months ago about Spurs.
Exactly. That comes at a cost, it seems like, and that cost is they have no creativity moving forward. A lot of things that you can point to, they didn't get a number 10 to replace Eriksen. Eriksen was out the door even before Jose had come in, so they have not replaced Eriksen. And Lamela and Lo Celso and Ndombele are not number 10s, pure number 10s like Eriksen was. They don't create chances. They don't distribute that well. I know people will disagree with me and say Ndombele is the best thing since sliced bread, but he can't play 90 minutes, so it doesn't count for me, right? So you need a sub to replace him at the 65th minute. That's just not going to cut it in the Premier League. You need a guy who's capable of playing 90 minutes. I mean, that's at bare minimum, and I think that's ridiculous if a guy cannot play 90 minutes of soccer. And it's just patently absurd to say a guy who is a professional football player who does this for his job and gets paid millions of dollars to do it cannot get the fitness to play 90 minutes.
Well, it's like if you work in an office in a corporate and you have to get there at 9 and you leave at 6, and you're like, no, by 3 p.m. I need a sub. I just can't do it.
I just can't do
it. Take me out.
But I get paid the same.
Spray me down. Put some. Give me the magic spray on the back of my calves because they're roasting.
And then you want a really good review at the end of the year.
Oh, he wants 5 stars on his Yelp. And Ndombele's Yelp is. Fuego.
I like Ndombele. I think when he had a goal, he scored right away, right in the last game. What I'm saying is he's not a number 10. He's not the answer. We need a number 10. We need creativity. It can't come down to like Kane dropping back, distributing the ball, Son doing something with it, and then waiting for Kane to run up and get the ball back so he can finish. That's just not the solution.
You don't think Chelsea or Tottenham are title contenders?
You can speak much better about Chelsea. I think that they need one more center back. I think they need another midfielder, and they need to actually play Vinicius or another striker, whether they get that in the transfer market or they find somebody to play up top. And then let Kane play like a false
Why aren't they
9.
letting Bale play?
And then let Bale play. Like, just let him out there, dink balls around, and like have some quality moments. Like, yeah, man, he may not run back and like defend, like his life's depending on it. But if you're pressing like they should be, going for the jugular, he should have to do is just stand around and then do these flicks and like kick the ball in, and that'll be fine. Like, that's fine for me. Like, that's fine because he's quality. Like, he doesn't. There's nobody else on that team that has that kind of quality. Like, he can just like kind of like flick his head or like touch the ball and like it's just like little bursts of quality. That's why you signed him. You didn't sign him to like go out and play 90 minutes every game. You signed him to have those little flashes of brilliance and score a goal here and there, like 6 goals, 8 goals. We're not asking him to score 20 goals here. We're not asking golden boot shit.
If Bale scores 8 goals in the league, you guys win the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly. And that's but the only way to get to get to there is if you play him. And now he's hurt. Or he has COVID, whatever. I don't know.
Hurt COVID. So, looking at this week, you guys get a break because of the COVID thing with Fulham.
Right.
And my question to you, we talked about this the other day. I think that if a team has a COVID scare and it like takes out their organization, basically like Man City's like our whole entire like operation is done for by COVID. We talked about how unfair that is for other teams because now Man City and Everton, 2 teams that are far up the table, get time off. Tottenham also gets time off, whereas Chelsea has to play 2 games back to back where we lose 5 points.
And they have to play 4 days later after that.
Yeah.
So there's a heavy squad rotation. But now 4 teams, Fulham's fighting for a relegation spot, so that impacts the lower teams, but 3 very good teams fighting for a top 4 spot, if not the title.
So I think there's got to be a penalty there.
There has to be a penalty.
And the one that I floated to you was like, okay, when you come back and play them, because Manchester City had to forfeit, in the event that they win, they only get 2 points, max points.
Okay.
They get 2 points. If they win. If they lose, you still get 0 points. If you tie, you get 1 point. But when you win, coming back having rested because of COVID, you only get 2 points as your max. Now, people will come back and say, hey, that's not fair, this, that, and the other thing. But my thing is like, over those couple weeks, 18 other games happened.
Right.
Like, Man City was able to keep it together that first week. Then why couldn't they do that the second week? And vice versa. Fulham and Liverpool. Sorry, who is Spurs supposed to play today?
Fulham.
Fulham kept it together the week before, and then this week they didn't. And like we joked around, is it like Foden going out with his F-boy haircut on like Tinder dates and like making out with women and that don't have COVID tests? Like what is it? What is the negligence that happened over that? Or is it just bigger than that and we shouldn't punish them? Because if it is bigger than that, and this is one of the things we wanted to talk about, what are the chances then that the league gets suspended again? Because I thought those chances were low. I thought that the Premier League was doing a good job. I thought all of the clubs in the Premier League were doing what they needed to do to mitigate and to cut down on COVID issues, etc. If the teams are still within the context of cities where COVID is running rampant and there's a new strain, I'm thinking that there might be another suspension. And I don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. The pod doesn't want that to happen. Our listeners don't want that. We're all fans of the game. But it's also like this is bigger than that.
Well, let's put this into context. So they do COVID testing every week. Since the restart, I think there's been approximately 8 to 12 positive tests total each week throughout the league, right? And so that's a mixture of players and people in the organization that test positive. It's not a very high number. There's thousands of people that work.
It's a very low number.
It's a very low number.
It's below 1% of a percent.
So I would say that the protocols that the teams are putting in place are far more stringent than what's the protocol for the government's putting in place in the UK. And I think that's not a controversial statement to make. When this week's COVID test came out, the results came out, 18 tests. So it's double. So that's what the alarm is, right? And if a large portion of that is at one club, I think, or one or two clubs, then that's the problem. I don't think it's players, honestly. I don't think it's players. I think it's maybe one or two players, and then there's a bunch of staff that got it.
We talked about this, and I just don't know the question. Because, like, I'm fine if you and I play for Tottenham, and we're going to get together at Christmas. That's completely fine for us to get together. And our families can come, too. Our immediate families, the family you live with, your wife and your kids, my wife, my kids. We can all sit together in a living room without masks because you and I are in a dressing room anyway. We're sharing the field. We're sharing the bus. We're sharing the plane. We're sharing whatever.
Right.
So that's fine. But I wonder, because this is about a week or certain days after the Christmas time, if people got together and they were a little bit more liberal with opening up their bubbles. So instead of just you and my family, your family and my family getting together, our wives and our kids, it's maybe the grandparents came and they haven't been in the bubble. Maybe it's my brother was out of town and now he's back. Your sister was out of town. And once you open up that, you just do that enough times for all the players in the Premier League, you're going to have problems. Because the timeline lines up. The game getting canceled today, it's about, almost a week out from Christmas festivities. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve.
Not only that, I think that that applies, I think, to Western culture, and especially around the holidays. I think that a lot of people let down their guard a little bit, and that's why we're going to see an uptick in COVID. Now, I think that players have greater access to being able to travel, being able to go abroad, being able to just jet set around and go back home, to go back and see people they don't normally see. But I also think that in the UK, they have this new strain of COVID that's easy to transmit. I don't want to rush to judge the players because it's not just about what the players do. It's also about the staff, the people in the kitchens and the people who are in the boot room and the people who do the training and the doctors and all the people there. There is a very high likelihood that there was those people as well. And they did the same thing during Christmas, right? During Boxing Day.
Exactly. And if you just do that enough time, even
Correct.
if you say 1%, like you said, 1% could still be 30 people.
But that's my problem with it, is that I think, and I have a little bit of a different opinion about this, and I think it's a little bit more controversial. And I think that the team, league is centered around making money. It's centered around keeping this ship moving forward, right? And so when you have a club, it's not just the players. This club is an entire unit. It's an entire team is obviously an overused word, but it's
literally like a mafia because it's this massive amount of people that come together that we don't see or we really don't talk about up until now that make it so that way 11 guys get on the field and sweat with 3 subs.
And so my issue is that Fulham and City have this organization that has a bunch of people that got COVID. They did not communicate to their employees. They did not communicate to their family of people that this was an important time to not jeopardize our product. I think there should be a penalty to that club.
Well, that's what I propose too.
But I think they should just forfeit. They should just not. You lose the 3 points.
And the other team gets the 3 points.
I don't know if the other team gets the 3 points.
Because that's the problem. Does the other team get the 3 points? Because otherwise,
maybe the other team gets 2 points. Maybe it's like your proposal. Is the other team, because they do get a break, right? So maybe they shouldn't get the full 3 points. But that team should definitely not get a chance to replay that game. I mean, it's unfair on a whole number of levels.
Because especially for City, let's think about City. Right. City already has 2 games in hand now because they had to start off the league late because of their European endeavors at the end of last season, how the UCL was pushed all the way back. Insert Sterling missing over the bar. Now they have that game. Then they have this game. City is still in the EFL. City's still in the Champions League. And they're still in the league. So somewhere around April, March, whenever they want to do this, they're going to have to tack in all these games. And there's going to be injuries for City, whether they were now during the Christmas period because it's heavy or they're later. And I just don't even know how they do that. So I kind of agree with you. Maybe the game's just a wash, and the team that didn't forfeit, they get 2 points. You can't just say the team doesn't get any points because then, for example, Tottenham, they get to the end of the season and they're like, dude, well, we didn't have a whole game to play. We lost the potential, the opportunity cost of those 3 points is, as we know, every point literally is a monetary value. It's like £1 million something pounds. I just think that there should be penalties if it's found that it was negligence on a club-wide level due to not keeping the messaging the same for everyone else. Because it's like you've got 20 students in your classroom and these 2 students get something, even though we've all been told, like, don't do something. And so that's not really a good answer. I don't know if it's a penalty. I don't know if you then play the game and then they get a max of 2 points, or whether you give the 2 points to the team that wasn't able to forfeit. Something has to happen.
Think of it this way, though. Like Everton and Tottenham were the home team, and they both weren't the ones with the problem. They were perfectly capable of hosting that game. So there were resources put into that game. It's not fair for Tottenham and Everton, people that work at that stadium, for the coaches, the staff, everybody who makes that operation still run, to have to just sit around and wait and then not play the game. That costs the club money. There's a cost to that. And there has to be consequences for the other team to cause it. Like,
I think the other team should have to pick up that bill. They should have to pick up the operational cost of that day or the 2 days before to get the stadium ready. And I also want to say something. I said it was a mafia because I was thinking in my mind it's like an organized family, because that's really what a club is. When you walk any of these insiders, when you watch any of them, you and I've watched the Sunderland one together. We've watched the All In or Nothing Tottenham. That's really what it is. A club is an organized family professional unit that comes together, and they do all these things that you don't even see in the background. And we honestly, as fans, we take for granted to put our team's 11 players out with 3 subs and a coach. Because that, at the end of the day, what we see week in and week out, we see the finished product. There's a lot more behind the scenes. And I think it's interesting what you're saying. There's so many operational costs that Everton and Tottenham invested to get their stadium and get their players and get the grounds and get everything ready, even if there weren't fans in the stadium. Maybe Manchester City, maybe Fulham picked those up. I don't know.
I think there needs to be something that the league has to do. And it's actually, the league has to share the blame, because we all saw it. Mourinho posted on his Instagram, which is fire, by the way. People have to start following.
If you don't follow Mourinho's Instagram, stop following us and just follow Mourinho.
It's hilarious. He posts a video at 6 p.m. UK time, London time, basically, of him with his feet up on a couch in the middle of like the lounge at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, watching Sky Sports, saying, we still don't know the status of this game, and we don't know if we're playing this game or not. That is ridiculous.
Well, he had a snub. He said the greatest league in the world.
And then he said the greatest league in the world. The league needs to. I think the league is a shit show. The league doesn't know what they're doing. They don't.
I think
have
they
any
do know
idea.
what they're doing. I think they do know what they're doing. I just think that these are obviously unbelievable circumstances. And right now, there are conversations that are being had, just like the one we're having right now, which is like, we need to put in place consequences, whether they be points wise or monetary. Otherwise, we're not incentivizing good behavior. It's the only way we humans react to anything. We have to have taxes. We have subsidies, right? The taxes, if I speed, I get a ticket. The subsidy is if I drive like a good driver, I have to pay less in my insurance. We only react to pluses and minuses in our life, and the league has to do the same thing. Otherwise, the clubs and the managers, who are honestly probably financially fairly strapped. I don't know about Tottenham as much. I don't know about Everton. But if that were a team like Fulham, for example, I don't know if Fulham can then cover Tottenham's operational costs if that's what they had to do.
Fine. If they can't cover their costs, they got to forfeit the points. I'm sorry. That's just
maybe that's it. You have an if or. You either cover the costs or you forfeit the points. I don't think that pushing these games down you're kicking the can down the line.
Right.
We may have another suspension, and then the season may get super truncated as it is. And a team like City that's going to be in Europe, going to be in the EFL or in the semis, there's just not enough days to be played.
Right.
And you're just going to get more people injured long term. And if we have another suspension, we saw what happened last year. People came back, and it was just we talked about the yo-yoing fitness. So, I don't know. But let's get away from COVID. You cool?
I'm cool. I'm conflicted about it. I think that it's actually a good thing for Spurs as a team to get the rest. I mean, there's a little bit of like missed opportunity of not getting a training day. Guys just sit around. I think there's like some tactic thing. They don't get to work on the Leeds game, which is their next opponent. There's some mental stuff that goes on. But I also think part of me is like, Fulham should pay the price. They should pay the price in points or pay the price monetarily because they fucked up.
I think there has to be a consequence. If there's not a consequence...
And it pisses me off about City. It fucking pisses me off about City because those guys are overpaid, and that's a personnel issue. They have to fucking manage their personnel better, and they don't. They let them do it seems like they let them do whatever the fuck they want.
But once again, it may not have been any of the players. It could have been part of the organization.
At least two of the players, because Walker and one other player were COVID positive. So it wasn't just it was players. It was actual players at City. I don't know whether Fulham players, but
do we have data behind the likelihood of having an F-boy haircut and being COVID positive? Is there a correlation?
Very high. It's a very
Is
high.
there a significant value?
Do you want to get on to...
I want to ask you who you think the best player of the season has been thus far, because I know exactly who I think it is. There's really only one, Jeff.
It's going to be obvious when you say it.
Well, there's three who you could talk about.
Talk about the top goal scorer, which is
Mohamed Salah with 13.
Ooh.
Then you have DCL with 11,
Mm-hmm.
and then Son with 11. But I'm looking at, and then the assists, you have Harry Kane with 10, Bruno Fernandes with 7, and Kevin De Bruyne with 7.
Oh, we can say Fernandes.
I'm gonna say Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes.
Because he's got his team in second.
Yep.
He scored.
There's something about 42 of the goals, 43 of the goals. He's like been a part of 42 of
Yeah,
them,
before he was a part, exactly. Well, 45. So now of the last 45 goals for United, he's been a part of 43. He's literally carrying that team. Since he came in, they have been an actual, they've been a problem. And before that, they were not. And Ole was literally, his job was on the line. This is like before restart. Now, for me, he's just the best.
What happens if he gets injured?
If he gets injured, I don't know what happens to United. United become very mediocre very quickly because he's so influential. Because for me, it's Fernandes, and then the other guys who are up there, Harry Kane, goals and assists, he has a combination of 19. Bruno Fernandes has 17, and Mohamed Salah has 16. Obviously, Mohamed Salah is playing great. They're at the top of the table. However, like we talked about, they just tied West Brom, and they just tied Newcastle. 2 games, those are 4 points. If they get those 4 points, I think they're starting to slowly run away with the title again, but they don't. They drop those points.
They drop points.
And so for me, Fernandes, and it pains me to say it, but I think he's the best player right now in the league.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna say Harry Kane, and I know this is come from a Spurs supporter.
Are you a Spurs fan though?
Most days.
Tough to tell.
Tough to tell as we
Tough
look
to tell.
at
As I look around, there's just like Spurs shit everywhere.
And I want people to listen to this. All right, I want you to really hear this out.
If you're not a Spurs fan, just mute for the next 2 minutes.
Oh, come on. Harry Kane is an English player. Like, people should like Harry Kane. I don't know why he gets so much hate. He gets a lot of hate.
Who hates him?
A lot of people hate on him. They do. Because of that whole freaking thing where he backs into a player and they jump over him and where he gets a foul, that whole thing. That's become controversial on the social medias.
On the social medias.
Yeah, on all the social medias.
The media. That's a plural.
Let me tell you about Harry Kane. Not only does he have 19 goals/assists, and I've said this before, he plays two-way football better than anybody else. He plays like a number 10 almost, but also defends on all set pieces in the box, and he tracks back and creates so much going forward.
Manchester United is second in the table with a game in hand, and if they win that, they tie Liverpool.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying Spurs would be literally 15th if Kane wasn't on the team.
Spurs would be 15th for sure, and United would probably be 6th or 7th without Bruno Fernandes. I can almost say undoubtedly. He is so influential. Okay, maybe this is the better question. Who's more important to their team, Bruno Fernandes or Harry Kane? I got to go with Harry Kane, actually. Harry Kane. You take him out,
you take him off
as you
field.
said, Son is a good player. With Harry Kane, he's a great player.
Kane also saves Dyer's ass every fucking corner. Dude.
That's really dark that your forward saves your center back's ass.
He does. You expect Dyer to be the one going up for headers and heading. No, when you watch Watch a corner kick from Spurs. 9 times out of 10, it's Harry Kane hitting the ball out of the box.
We're changing the subject
Also,
so we get
the
away
reason
from
why
Spurs. We got to get away from Spurs.
No. The reason why this may be the reason. Maybe we just cracked the code. The reason why they're terrible in
Is
transition.
this the Da Vinci Code?
They would just. The reason why they're terrible in transition. They're defending with Kane in the box, and then he's not up the field to create the opportunities for Kane. There's no way he's tired. He can't keep running around. They play him 90 minutes every week. He cannot.
Changing the subject.
Okay. No.
Best
Spurs
young
film.
player of the year. This will not be a Spurs player, so I got you off Spurs. Here's Sky. Put up something.
Give me a short list.
I got Saka from Arsenal,
Okay.
Greenwood from United, Foden from City, with the F-boy haircut, Jeff. We know you love it.
Okay.
And I'd say Mason Mount from Chelsea. And Mason's a little bit older than those two, so I don't think he's in that running.
I've seen a lot of quality from Saka, and it pains me to say that because he's an Arsenal player, but
I think Saka's been phenomenal.
he's very
He
good.
was struggling to get in the team when Arteta took over.
Right.
And now
Yes,
he's
very
almost
true.
number 1 on the team sheet over guys like Aubameyang. I think Aubameyang looks bad. If you're an Arsenal fan, you got to look in the mirror and just realize that guy got his paycheck and then he posted up.
Another Mesut Ozil contract.
Oh, even in the game with Brighton, there was like one time where the ball went to him. And I know it's one time, it's anecdotal, but the ball went to him and he just like knocked it out of bounds. And he just didn't look like a footballer. And Saka has been on fire and looks really positive every time he picks up the ball. Foden hasn't really gotten in the team. That's why I don't think he's there. And Greenwood could be there. I actually think Greenwood has more raw talent than Saka. I just think Saka's playing better right now. And then Mason Mount. I think Mason Mount's a little too old to be in like the young player. I don't even think he could win that award. I think he's like 20 or 21, and these guys are like 19, 18, which I know is only a year, but
I mean, I guess it's Saka.
who would you – okay, maybe we can agree that Saka's the best player currently, like out of those 3 or those 4. Who would you rather sign, though? You're starting a new season. Who would you sign out of Greenwood, Foden, Saka, and I'm going to throw Mason just so we get another person in there.
For what team?
You're starting a team.
My starting 11, like who would be my choice? They're all different players. I guess they're all different players. So who would I get? If Mount was the choice, I'd sign Mount. I think he's the most solid fundamentally.
I think he's the best two-way player.
And he's really good on free kicks.
He can score a free kick.
He can score on a free kick. I don't think any of those other players can.
I haven't seen any of the other players. Greenwood's got 2 really good feet.
If somebody hears this and they think of another player, please let us know, because I'm racking my brain trying to think of another like young player. It's a good question to ask. I mean, we're talking what's the age cutoff on that? 21?
I think the age cutoff is like 20, and that's why I think Mount's 20 or 21. Mount's just a little bit older. Foden's 19 or 18. Yeah, he's super young. Currently, I would go with Saka. In the long term, if I was starting even like a three-a-side team or 5-a-side or just a full team, I go with Mount. Mount's a better two-way player.
He is. He's a much better two-way player. I mean, he's a central midfielder. He's not a.
Yeah, Foden plays forward, but sometimes I think Foden's more of like a 10.
Yeah.
Depending upon who he's got up front, but they've been playing him the forward because of all the injuries that they've had with Jesus and Aguero. So
the midfield of Chelsea stacked, and he's found his way into the midfield as a key play, not just like a rotational player. Like you pretty much have, like in a key game, he has to play.
He has to play.
Conte, Mount.
So let's look at the week coming up, and let's do a little prediction game.
All right, I like it.
Preview. We got Everton, West Ham. This Fur Day.
It's a short week.
It's the shortest week ever. The pods have got Jeff basically doesn't sleep. He just edits podcasts.
I'm going to give it to Everton. They got some days off. They finally won a game without Richarlison, so I think they're feeling
Everton
pretty good.
win this.
And West Ham, they're on their slide.
What about United Villa? That's the second game on Friday, which is going to be a fire game because Villa is one of my favorite teams to watch. They're unpredictable.
Villa tied Chelsea. Is that the game that we watched on Monday?
Yep.
I thought that was a good bounce back game for Chelsea, by the way. Just to add that.
As long as we didn't lose.
Yeah.
If we had lost, it would have been
and Giroud got back on the score sheet, and I think he proved that why he has to start. Villa, what was it? Villa United. Honestly, United had a bit of trouble in their last game.
They beat Wolves 1-0.
Okay, so that Wolves game, by the way, United had a lot of trouble with Wolves, and they scored on a Rashford late goal, like 92nd minute, lucky bounce kind of goal.
Fergie time. But I will say, if you watch that goal, Bruno Fernandez's ball to Rashford was ridiculous. Rashford did all the work because he got it, and he had to like deke a bunch of dudes, drag it back out, and bring it to his left foot.
But it still got scored on a double deflection.
It's a goal in the 93rd.
Whatever.
I don't care.
Whatever. The point is, it took 93 minutes to beat Wolves.
I don't care. Chelsea lost to Wolves.
And
Wolves are good, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. United are not like juggernauts. All right, they're not.
No, they are not a juggernaut.
They're not a juggernaut.
They have Bruno Fernandes.
They have Harry fucking Maguire.
Harry Eagle Easter
Here's
Island
the
head
thing
Maguire.
we were talking about a little bit about not Maguire, but basically Maguire, is that what Wolves weren't doing that game and what a lot of teams aren't doing against United is just going straight at them. Straight at Wan-Bissaka, straight at Maguire, straight at Lindelof, like one-on-one take-ons. Teams aren't doing that. I don't know why.
I think they're not doing that because they're defending so well with numbers. They're not leaving
they're
themselves
so
isolated like that.
Freaking slow.
Their line, their back three or back four, other than like holding with Arsenal and Mustafi, who is a character, is a shit show. But they're so good. I don't understand it.
It's weird. It seems like every manager is approaching attacking that team wrong, but that's beyond the point.
Who do you have, United or Villa? This has taken 3 days to get the answer.
I think I want to choose Villa. Then
choose Villa. No one's holding a gun to your head. I want to choose Villa.
I want Grealish to score. That's really what I want. I want to just
see
that. I want to see that boy score. He's not my fantasy, but that's not the point. I want to see him score because
dude, all of your opinions are biased.
They're not. They're not. It's
so
not
who's
based
the
on
best
fantasy.
player in the Prem? Oh, got to be Harry Kane guy.
Kane's not my fantasy team.
It doesn't matter. When I asked you, it's always always comes back. Always comes back.
It was Grealish.
We're gonna get to fantasy.
Yeah, it's
fall
rough.
from grace over here.
It's all right. I'm not really paying attention.
It's all right. I'm not paying attention. Bullshit. He makes trades every day. He's like
looking at one trade.
Looking at stats. He's got a VA in the Philippines doing deep analysis.
You're lucky I can edit this all out.
I hope you don't edit it. Tottenham Leeds. Who do you got? You took Aston Villa in that game.
I'm gonna go with another tie, probably 2-2.
Leeds. I saw a meme today.
5 goals.
Like,
right?
Imagine being a Leeds player. You go out every day. You don't know if you're going to win 6-0 or lose 6-0 because they're just like whatever.
I would want to say that the rest that Spurs get is going to help Kane, Son, and the regular starters. But I think that Leeds are just so well conditioned that it doesn't even matter. They can play like every other day. They don't even care.
I think you guys will win this game.
Yeah,
because I think your defense is just better than their defense.
Oh, your defense. Their defense is
if
so bad.
If you park the bus, though, you will lose.
Yes,
or you'll tie, which is a loss at home for Tottenham at this point to a team that's
Well, they're on 23 points. They're not a bad team.
They're not a bad team,
but they got
Tottenham's
smoked.
Trying to win the title.
No, they're not. Okay, that's a whole other conversation. Tottenham as an organization are not trying to win the title.
Jose Mourinho is trying to win the title.
No, he's not. He's 100% not. He's 100% not trying to win the title.
Dude.
He's not trying to win the title.
He gets dubs.
He's not trying to win the title.
Dub nation.
That's not success for Jose this year.
What's success for Jose?
Top 4.
Keeping
100%.
his job?
Top 4 in a trophy, and that's probably League Cup.
All right, well, keeping his tight. Okay, a top 4 in a trophy. So that's League Cup.
One trophy. If he wins one, even if it's the League Cup, if he wins a trophy, he will be like a fucking hero.
Tattoos.
Yes.
Will you get a tattoo of Mourinho?
It's the most Spursy thing to not win a trophy in like 50 years or whatever, 1626 or whatever it is.
Why are we talking about Spurs?
I don't know.
Just tell me who they win. I think they win, but if they park the bus, they're screwed.
I think they're going to tie 2-2. That's it.
Crystal Palace, Sheffield. This is Crystal Palace winning, and this is probably Sheffield getting a new manager the next day.
Oh, my God.
Sheffield has the tied for the second worst start in Premier League history.
I think Crystal Palace is really bad, too, though.
I think Crystal Palace, but they have Zaha, and no Zaha, no goals.
Yeah, they'll win. They're going to win 1-0.
Brighton Hove Wolves.
They're going to bounce back.
In this.
Yeah, at least 2-0.
Ooh, West Brom Arsenal. West Brom has tied some teams. They tied Liverpool, and then they got smoke showed by Leeds. So this whole Sam Allardyce project, I don't know about. But
no, they got 9. They've since 9 goals in the last 2 games or whatever. They scored on them. Something crazy. They are going to lose to Arsenal. Arsenal's going to go get another 3 points. I know you just slump your shoulders, but it's just in the cards.
It hurts.
Burnley
Fulham. This is down in the wooden spoon matches.
No.
The deep lore.
No, Burnley's a lot better.
Dude, oh my God, Jeff. Burnley's sitting in 16th, my G.
So, are they?
Yeah, this is like Sheffield. Where you're like, but Sheffield, they play so the Blades.
Wait. All right, let me rephrase that. What were the teams?
Burnley, Fulham.
Fulham will win this game.
I think Fulham also win this game.
Oh, Scott Parker's coming back from COVID lockdown. Scott Pease is gonna bring them back.
Newcastle off tie to the league leaders Liverpool play Leicester City and Jamie Vardy's pub team.
Leicester City are going to win this game.
Leicester City should win this
game. Got a Madison goal in them, maybe a Barnes goal.
Do you know who we play? Chelsea, Manchester City. And I'm so glad Manchester City got a fucking rest. Make it explicit now.
Yes. I actually think that
It's at the bridge. It's at the bridge.
It's at the bridge.
I think we win this game.
Yeah.
I really don't know how, but I hope we win this game because
I hope so too.
it's going to get dark.
You need a good bounce back game. I actually think it could be a 0-0 tie, to be perfectly honest. You guys just don't, something's missing in your offense, and I don't know how to solve it. I don't have the answer. You'd think Werner and Havertz and Giroud, but Giroud's been poaching goals, so...
Giroud poaches.
Poaches.
Shoot or shoot.
But I think your defense is vastly improved. And we say this every week, but very good defense. And yes, Mendy's had a few issues, and
Mendy's had a few issues.
Reece James is not hurt. It's good that they're not hurt because I think I like Reece James and Chilwell. And you got Thiago Silva playing again.
I think Chelsea are gonna win this game 1-0. I think it's gonna not
Olivier
be fun.
Giroud.
I'm gonna go with Pulisic.
Toe poke?
Pulisic scored against him last time. I got Pulisic. He hasn't scored, and he needs to score.
He hasn't scored yet. He needs to score.
Last game could be fire game. Could be the best game of the week, other than the Manchester United game, which I also
other than the Tottenham Leeds game.
Yeah, I don't care about the game. I was thinking about the United Villa game is going to be a game. The City Chelsea is going to be a game, and then this game, Southampton Liverpool. Liverpool's tied the last 2 games. They've looked a little sterile moving forward.
Well, who is it? Southampton who?
Liverpool.
They've looked real sterile.
Don't sleep on Mane. Who do you got? It's at St. Mary's.
Oh my God. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
I think it's going to be 1-1. Just pluck your eyes out.
It's going to be so boring. Watching Southampton play they don't score from open play a lot, right? I don't think so. They're pretty much they're just trying to get fouled right outside the 18 on the outside the 18, and then James Ward-Prowse score a free kick. Is that what their objective is?
No,
Theo Walcott sneak in there and
they got English clash.
Oh yeah, he did play his first game back. He's back now from an injury.
I also see this game being a tie at 1-1.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Liverpool is just so two-faced. They could also just blow them out 4-0, and they wouldn't even sweat. Most of the laws not even smiling.
To be fair about the Newcastle game today that they tied, Kyle Darlow, and
you said player of the year, goalie of the year
so far. He truly
he stood on his head multiple times,
clear ball, just made crazy saves. Liverpool probably should have won that game.
Yeah,
so
he should be tested for doping. He's ridiculous.
He's a backup goalkeeper too.
There's a training video. He's just tipping them over the bar on
good
penalties.
for him. Good for him. He's taking the opportunity that he's been given, and he's making a name for himself on a Newcastle team that's pretty bad.
It's not a very strong Newcastle team.
It's a Newcastle team that's basically clear the ball out, and hopefully Callum Wilson gets it and can do something with it. The defenders fuck up. That's their game. Hopefully the defenders fuck up and Callum Wilson gets the ball in behind the defenders. That's basically it.
One of the most notable things from the Newcastle game is that DeAndre Yedlin played the entire game.
Oh, he looked pretty good too. Pretty solid. Not outstanding, but
it doesn't matter. To be a U.S. player to play against Liverpool for 90 minutes and come up with a tie, this is one of the best teams in Europe, so I'm happy with that. But with all that, let's look at fantasy.
You've only scored, is that 30 points for you?
I only had 30 points, yeah, because half of my teams didn't play because they all had COVID scares because of F-boy haircuts.
How does that work with fantasy?
I don't know. I think the points are just lost. Or when the games are played, they're made up. You get those points back.
Oh, yeah, you get those points when they're made up.
I think you get those points. So we're not even going to look at the bottom because those bums in the bottom are all the same. Jaboy moved up to 9th. I'm
in 7th now, right?
The long con. And you're in 6th.
Oh, 6th. That's not so bad.
It's not so bad. The top 3 is not so special one. Ozatik with almost 900 points. He's killing it. Jesus Larry in 2. And BS United. Ankit moved up. Wow. At the top, it is as close as it is in the Prem. It's all by a couple points.
Yep.
You used to be 130 ahead of me. Now you're not even 60.
Yeah. I have to get back into my groove.
The Emperor's New Groove?
Stella got a groove back. I was thinking more of that groove.
Well, that's a weird way to leave the pod. We might as well leave our fans there. Our millions of fans. We're trying to get really big, and where are we trying to get big in, Jeff?
The merch game.
Oh, the merch. We're dropping merch soon, so
when
you get your Trump bucks, 600 of those doll hairs, make sure you invest wisely in crypto and Bolo's merch.
Yeah, we got some teas dropping. We got some mugs dropping. Check out the Instagram. You might see a few previews.
Yeah, or if you have either of our numbers, DM us and we'll send you a preview. or just message us.
Yeah, just message us. We'll share it out.
We're going to have the store up soon, and we're also going to leave a code. So if you use the code BOLOS when the store is open, you'll get 10% off. I think that's how we'll do it. BOLOS. It's pretty simple.
Maybe free shipping. We doing free shipping?
I think we're doing free shipping, yeah.
So nice. Free shipping.
So
nice.
So nice to
Nothing
touch.
better than free shipping.
No, free returns.
Ooh.
We're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
If you get your Don't Sleep on Mane's shirt and it doesn't fit, you're going to give it to some guy who needs it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be people walking around with Don't Sleep on Mane's shirts. What does that mean? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so we got a few designs coming out. Hoodies, t-shirts, mugs,
Long sleeve tees.
long sleeve tees, maybe a crew neck.
Ooh,
I like a nice crew neck every once in a while.
do you?
Yeah, because like I wear a lot of hooded jackets, and I don't like the double hood.
The double hood's a little over.
Sometimes I wear almost like a crew neck, like a long sleeve t-shirt, and like I wear it like exercising, like on a cold day.
Oh, like the 80s.
Yeah, like the 80s, kind of like an 80s throwback kind of like feel.
Nice.
Yeah,
I didn't know that about you.
It's swell. You learn something new every day.
Swell? Did you say it's swell?
Yeah, I said it's swell. No, I said well.
I wonder if other people laugh when they hear us laugh.
They don't. They don't laugh.
They're like 15 seconds ahead.
Yeah, they're like, let me just get to the end.
God, these
Let me
bums.
get to the Sky Sports guys.
I'm also putting together the guest list. So if you're hearing this and you want to come on, let me know. We're arranging that, and we'd like to really have that out for the next couple months, and then we can kind of sit back and focus just making the content, making the pods. So thanks for listening. You'll hear this before the New Year's, so I hope everyone has. This is our Happy New Year episode also. Low-key.
Yeah, 2020 wasn't a great year for everyone. I think that we can all agree on that. 2021, here's to hoping.
Here's to potential.
Well, I'll see you next time, Jarrett.
Ciao.
Ciao.
So 2020 had one highlight and a lot of challenges. The highlight was becoming champion. All the rest were big challenges. And we will face a few more challenges in life. So, but I'm not... I'm quite happy that 2020 is nearly over now, to be honest. It's, how I said, apart from becoming champion, there is not a year I will think a lot about in the future.
I think the disappointment is they had it in their hands. And I think if you're going to keep sitting back, you are going to ask for trouble. And it's not just a one-off. There are many games where this is happening. This is now becoming a pattern. And the more often it happens, the players start to get negative. They start to think, oh, it's going to happen again. It transmits to your brain. And that's where I think that's a major problem for Jose right now.
Thanks for listening to the Boys and Bolos podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Twitch, at Boys and Bolos.
If you'd like to be a guest, please reach out. You can hit us on any of the social media accounts that Jeff just mentioned, or email us directly at boysandbolos@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and see you next time.